A ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, thanks to Donald Trump, is now a reality. Letitia James, the AG that went after Donald Trump, guess what? She just got indicted. I'm going to tell you what for. And now the money trail of all these riots, who's funneling them, who is perpetrating all this terror in the United States, that's just been discovered in front of Congress. Stick around. You just might learn something. Do you remember how all this began? October 7th, 2023, a day of terror. Hamas struck deep inside southern Israel. Over 1,000 Israelis were killed. Over 200 were abducted. Israel swore vengeance. Gaza is bombarded, leveled, besieged. Over 2 years of relentless war of suffering, hostages and rubble and children dying. Well, tonight, this very night, we stand at the edge of a new dawn and the war is now over. So we're told, because of one man, Donald Trump. That's right. Oddly enough, improbably, at the negotiating table, and he brokered a deal that ends all the destruction. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what was agreed upon because it's kind of in depth. So the first phase is a ceasefire. All Israel hostages freeze. Hamas stops firing rockets. The front lines freeze. The hostages that are still in Gaza, all living and deceased, will be returned within 72 hours. In return, Israel will release some 1,950 Palestinian prisoners, including the 250 serving life sentences, plus 1,700 others that are detained since the war began, and that includes women, children, and families. Then, Israel will pull back its troops. It will withdraw to a predetermined yellow line within Gaza, handing over territory in stages. Alongside that, Gaza is to be demilitarized. Hamas must give up its heavy weaponry, its tunnels, its military infrastructure. Security will shift in part to a proposed international stabilizing force, the ISF, a multinational under U.S. and Arab oversight, to patrol and train a new Palestinian force to ensure arms don't flow back in. Now, this is something that's very familiar to me. We did the same thing with Afghanistan, training the Afghan army and the police force, and look what happened. I'm hoping for the best that this occurs. Gaza's governance, meanwhile, transforms. Hamas is excluded from political power during this entire transition. Instead, a technocratic interim government of independent Palestine figures under international oversight steps in. Donald Trump is calling this some kind of like a board of peace that's going to be rein in and maintain all of the proposals that are in place. And aid of reconstruction in the tunes of billions in rebuilding, clearing the rubble, restoring the water, electricity, housing, all of it locked into milestones. Gaza must rise from the ashes under this new strict security conditions so the war never resumes. We need to make that place a place of beauty so people want to maintain it and will enjoy a Western type of life, because that's what it used to be like. This is the deal, and that is the promise that has been brokered by Donald Trump. So I'm going to stand here and ask, is peace really possible? After thousands of people have died, after cities have been flattened, after decades of bitterness, can we trust that Hamas will truly demilitarize, that Israel won't reoccupy, that the ISF won't become just another corrupt interim government that won't become beholden to like whoever's got the most money? I hope it works out. I think the hostages, those fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters, walking free again. Imagine a free Gaza, Gaza sleeping in rebuilt homes, no longer underground in those tunnels and the shelters. Imagine Israel not under rocket fire, not under permanent siege. Tonight, the war kind of ends. So we hope. By treaty, not by a final victory. Perhaps not perfect, cautiously, tentatively, but it ends. And we must hope that what follows is not just silence, but justice. Not just for rebuilding, but reconciliation. Not a ceasefire, but a lasting peace in the Middle East. And Letitia James, Tish, as I like to call her, She has been indicted, and tonight we find ourselves in one of those rare moments that test the very foundation of our justice system. The New York Attorney General Letitia James has been indicted on federal charges of bank fraud and making false statements to financial institution. Isn't payback a bitch? Isn't it? Prosecutors say she misrepresented a Virginia property as a secondary home to get better mortgage terms while allegedly renting it out for profit. Yeah, I guess you didn't know this. If you don't know this, if you get a mortgage and it's your primary residence, you get a better rate than if you get a mortgage to turn it around as a rental. And while the headlines are shocking, the message to them is crystal clear. Nobody is above the law. The rule of law must stand even for this. When somebody holds one of the most powerful law enforcement positions in the nation, integrity isn't optional. It's everything. And as an attorney general, she knew what she was doing. And her job is to uphold the law, not bend it for personal gains. I think she's intelligent enough to know how to fill out a mortgage document. If these allegations are true, this isn't about mortgage fraud. It's about trust. Trust in the office, trust in the system, trust in the idea that every single citizen from the courthouse to the White House answers to the exact same laws. The law doesn't care what title you hold, what party you're in, or how many cameras you have following you around. When you break it, you're going to answer for it. And under this new justice system and this new DOJ that President Trump has put together, this is how it's going to be now. Everybody's going to pay. Because if we start making exceptions for the powerful, if we start saying some people are too connected, too important to face consequences, then we don't have a justice system anymore. We have a privilege system. Accountability builds credibility. Remember that. This moment just isn't a scandal. It's a test. And maybe even a moment of renewal. If our justice system can investigate and prosecute one of its own fairly, that's not weakness, guys. That's strength. That proves the system still works. Letitia James absolutely deserves due process. The same fairness any citizen like me or you would get. But she also deserves to be held to the same standard she demands of others. We need to keep the scales balanced. Justice that's fair, firm, and equal for everyone. So you can call it retribution, however you want to look at it. It's a message for America. This isn't just about one person or one case. It's about what kind of country we want to be here in the United States. When the powerful are held accountable, it reminds every American that our laws still mean something, that the truth absolutely still matters, that justice still stands tall when the people enforcing it fall short. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody can make and learn from their mistakes, but justice isn't always convenient. It doesn't line up with our headlines, your party lines, or your personal loyalties. But it's what separates order from chaos and fairness. Whether you're the president, a prosecutor, or an ordinary citizen, the rules have to apply to everyone the exact same way. That's the way the justice system stays real. That's the only way people keep believing in the justice system. Because when the law finally stands taller than politics, that's when America stands tall. As cheesy as it may sound, these things absolutely matter 100%. So who's funding all of this chaos going on in America? Something is happening right now in this country that demands our full attention. The White House has just announced a bombshell discovery. Over $100 million in tax-paid funds plus laundered Democrat donations have reportedly been funneled into Antifa-linked organizations and protest networks. That's right, foreign and domestic dollars, fueling what are now calling Riot Incorporated. The names behind it are extremely powerful. Soros's Open Society Foundation, Arabella Advisors, the Tides Network, Hans George Weiss, the Swiss billionaire, and Neville Roy Singham, a man with alleged ties to a radical group called Armed Queers C, now under investigation in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. That's right, they are investigating whether he had something to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. These are not spontaneous protests. This is funded disruption, chaos for profit, power, and control. The claim? Dollars that are getting distributed. So let's start what's being said. According to the report, more than $100 million in public funds was diverted into protest networks like Antifa. On top of that, laundered political donations were channeled through nonprofit and advocacy groups that serve as political front operations. We've always known this, and now they're starting to peel back the layers of the onion and get to the truth. The list of funders reads like a who's who of global influence. These are people that are influencing our government. We're talking billionaires and foreign nationals using their wealth to finance movements that destabilize the city streets. And make no mistakes, if these allegations hold up, this isn't activism anymore. This is an industry, an organized machine with donors, managers, logistics, and marketing, all wrapped up in the language of justice and protests. They call it activism, but it looks a lot more like Riot Incorporated. The stakes, and why does this matter to America? So why does this matter so much to everybody, and why are they investigating it? Because these things are put out there in place to disrupt our everyday life into our justice system, because it destroys the narrative that these protests are grassroots and organic. If the same small circle of elites is bankrolling every movement, then we aren't witnessing people rising up. We are witnessing billionaires pulling the strings. That means these protests aren't for the people. They're on the people. They are manufactured dissent, a high dollar illusion of democracy that's really manipulation. And if the taxpayer dollars were used to help fund this, then the American people are literally paying for their own chaos. That's right. Our tax dollars are getting funneled in there and being returned back to us in a form of destruction, fires, vandalism in our own cities. You go to work, you pay your taxes, those taxes get sent to groups burning and lighting everything on fire. That's not democracy, guys. That's betrayal. The unknowns, the questions we absolutely need to answer with this, and we need to start looking into it. Now, to be fair, this is a massive accusation and it demands exceptional hard proof, but the allegations are there, and they're there for a reason. There's a little bit there in the there. So here are the questions we should absolutely be asking. Where's the paper trail? Show us the wire transfers, the grant records, the bank statements. Who exactly are these Antifa-linked organizations? We all know Antifa isn't a single solitary group, so who's cashing all those checks? They're going somewhere. I mean, are they going to a MoneyGram store? Are they going to Walmart check cashing facility? How much money comes in from taxpayers versus private foundations? How much of it came from foreign sources who are not supposed to influence American politics at all? It's against the law. And perhaps the most importantly, who authorized it? Who looked the other way and allowed all this chaos and destruction to happen in our country? Until those questions are answered, we can't accept silence as reassurance. The truth has to come out. If it's truth, then everything changes. If this investigation proves to be true, the implications are enormous. First, it means activism has been hijacked. It's no longer a voice for the people. It's no longer the hippies of the 60s protesting Vietnam War, but it's a business model built on outrage. Second, it means public money has been weaponized. The very government that promises order is funding the forces of disorder. Third, it means the elites have discovered a new tool for chaos itself. Riots, protests, divisions, not a side effect of politics, but as a political strategy. They're planning these things out. And fourth, it means every future protest will be viewed through suspicion, because how can we tell what's real and what's fake? This isn't democracy anymore, guys. It's a marketplace of manipulation. So what has to happen right now? What does America do? We look into it and we investigate it and we demand transparency. Every dollar needs to be tracked and every single donor needs to be identified. We demand independent investigations, not partisan or show trials. We don't need a January 6th committee with the hoopla and the lies and the deceit. We need real accountability. We demand legal consequences for anyone caught funneling money to violent extremist causes. We demand oversight to make sure taxpayer funds can never again be used to finance political unrest. We demand truth from the media, no more burying stories because the wrong side benefits from it. And finally, we demand vigilance from ourselves because the price of freedom isn't just bravery, it's awareness. And we're waking up. Now, closing. The battle is absolutely for the truth. This is bigger than politics, guys. This is about who controls the truth, who controls the narrative of this country, who controls you. They're manipulating you. They're manipulating me. They're owning the media. If these allegations are real, then the chaos we've seen on our streets isn't just anger, man. It's a product manufactured, marketed, and monetized. It's foreign money, domestic dark cash, as I like to call it. A pipeline of influence designed to divide, distract, and destabilize the very foundation of our country. And this isn't social justice, no matter how much they want to tell you. It's social engineering. It's manipulating every single person that is involved in these protests. And it's time to shine a light on all of it. Because if we don't, if we keep letting billionaires and foreign operatives bankroll this descent, the America stops being a nation of citizens and becomes a playground for the powerful. We've all heard the stories. Now we're trying to peel it back and we're going to find out who's in charge. So tonight, I'll leave you with one question. Do we settle for chaos or do we demand accountability? Because when the truth comes out, and it always does, there'll be only two sides left. Those who funded the chaos and those who fought to stop it. Well, that's it for tonight. Join me next time for a little chit chat, some observations, and some good old fashioned conversation. Thanks.